Good morning. This is Muhammad Sulaiman, Assistant Professor of Commerce, working at MVS Government Degree College Autonomous, Mehboob Nagar. Today, let us learn about general powers of the tribunal. As all of us know, that winding up of a company is a process in which a company life is put to an end, and tribunal may order for winding up of a company in the circumstances as provided in the Companies Act. Therefore, it is essential for us to learn about what are the powers of the tribunal and various activities or actions that the tribunal takes up in case of winding up of a company. So, the objectives of today's lesson are: we will learn introduction to the general powers of the tribunal, then we will see what are the powers of the tribunal, then we will learn about the committee of inspection, how it is formed and what are the members in the committee of inspection, and we will see constitution of committee of inspection and what are the provisions relating to filling up of vacancy and term of the members of the committee. Then we will see about contributory and who is liable to pay the amount in case of winding up of a company. Then we will learn about dissolution of the company. So let us move on quickly and learn all these points one by one. So as all of us know that winding up of a company is a process of putting an end to the life of a company, and the company is not dissolved immediately on the commencement of winding up proceedings. So winding up proceedings are nothing but they are the proceedings which will initiate the process of putting an end to the life of a company. So the appointment of a provisional liquidator or official liquidator, and assuming the charge by the liquidator, and various activities related to the realization of assets and dues that are to be collected by the company from various sources are to be collected, and the liabilities are to be disposed, and the amount in full or partial as per the availability of funds can be paid by the liquidator, and after the full payment of the amount that has been collected out of the assets of the company, the dissolution process of a company can be commenced. Therefore, winding up is nothing but it is a process of putting an end to the life of a company. Of course, it will impact some of the operations, business operations of a company, but it may not close all the operations at once. Therefore, it is a process of putting an end. So, initiating the process of winding up, and all the activities, when the activities are complete, then we can say that the dissolution of a company can be commenced now. Therefore, the role of tribunal here becomes very important, and tribunals can exercise the powers that are vested in it by law, subject to its jurisdictions. So let us see what are the general powers of the tribunal in case of winding up of a company. So as mentioned earlier, the tribunal can exercise powers that are vested in it by law in order to commence the proceedings of winding up of a company, and it is important to note that tribunal cannot exercise the powers in respect of a matter which does not fall within its jurisdiction. So it can take decisions only on such matters which can fall in its jurisdiction. Therefore, tribunal has got a wide variety of powers. So all those powers are listed here. 10 types of powers are listed. So let us have a quick coverage of all these powers: power to stay winding up proceedings, then settlement of the list of contributories and application of assets, delivery of the property to the liquidator, power to order payment of debts and to allow set off, then power to make calls on the amount that is due as unpaid on shares, then adjustment of rights of contributories, then power to costs, then power to summon persons suspected of having the property of the company, then power to order public examination of promoters, directors, and power to arrest absconding contributory. So these are 10 types of powers that a tribunal may have. So let us learn some description about each and every power of the tribunal. The first one is power to stay winding up proceedings. So if the tribunal feels that the winding up proceedings had to be put, or the winding up proceedings shall be stayed for a while, then even after passing the winding up order, an application of either the official liquidator or through any creditor or a contributor in some cases, upon satisfaction on the application made by either official liquidator, creditor, or contributory, the tribunal may think of staying the proceedings of winding up given earlier for a limited time, and it may put some conditions while giving a stay on winding up proceedings. Sometimes it may happen that creditors may come forward and request for staying the orders, winding up orders. In such a situation, at its discretionary powers, tribunal will consider the interest of various stakeholders like creditors, and it may put a stay on the winding up proceedings issued earlier. And it is important to note here that after passing up of the winding up order, the tribunal has no power to vacate the order. I repeat, once the winding up order is issued by the tribunal, it has no power to vacate the order. However, it can put a stay on the order for a limited time. So it can put a stay on the order for a limited time, and it should have a proper reason, that is an application by a creditor, a contributory, or an official liquidator. And after receiving such application with a detailed report, the tribunal, after observing the facts that are presented by the applicant, may consider the process of putting a stay on winding up proceedings. In such a case, the decision taken for putting a stay on the winding up proceedings of a company shall be communicated to the registrar, and it shall be noted in the books of the company, mentioning that a stay is put on particular company's winding up process. And the tribunal is generally empowered to make an order for stay up, winding up of company, where the company may opt for an arrangement or for reconstruction and amalgamation. So, in such a case, the tribunal may think of putting a stay on the winding up order issued earlier. So, here a winding up order that has been issued and the stay that has come on the winding up order follow one by one and for a limited time. And at the time of putting a stay on the winding up order, the tribunal shall see whether the creditors can be paid or not. Unless the tribunal is satisfied that the creditors can be paid, it has to put or it has to consider of imposing a stay on the winding up proceedings issued earlier. Therefore, tribunal has no power to vacate the winding up order, but however, tribunal may consider of putting a stay on the winding up proceedings issued earlier, and that too based on some valid grounds. So this is first a power of the tribunal. Then second one is settlement of the list of contributaries and application of assets. In the process of winding up, in normal circumstances, the tribunal will consider of settling the contributaries as soon as possible. And accordingly, a list of contributaries is prepared for the purpose of settlement of dues, and settlement of the list of contributaries is based on the names of shareholders as recorded in the register. So the register will be followed for the purpose of preparing the list of contributaries, and the tribunal, however, is not bound by the register of shareholders, and it has power to rectify the register in every case where rectification is required. So if rectification is required, it may consider the rectification of the register of shareholders. So the effect of settlement of list of contributaries and placing of the name of a person on the said list is unless the order is set aside on appeal, and the tribunal will try for settlement of dues by preparing the list of contributors, where the tribunal considers that it is not necessary to make calls or adjust the right of contributaries. The tribunal may set aside the process of settlement of the list of contributors. Therefore, the tribunal may think of the application of assets and the amount collected is to be applied for the process of discharging the liabilities of the company. So when the tribunal satisfies itself that the amount collected from the assets is enough to discharge the liabilities of the company, then in such a case, the list of contributaries may be ignored and the assets may be realized for the purpose of settling for the purpose of discharging the company's liabilities. So this is possible in case of companies where the block of assets are high and the amount that is to be realized on the assets is more and the liabilities of the companies are less. So in normal circumstances, in such a situation, the company will be able to discharge all the liabilities that it has, all the secured and unsecured amounts that are to be paid will be paid in normal course, and the assets will be realized and liabilities will be discharged. So this is how the application of assets will happen. So if in case if the tribunal observes that the assets are not sufficient to discharge the liabilities of the company, then it may think of preparing a list of contributaries and calling for the amount. So this is second power, and third one is delivery of the property to the liquidator. So the company has the power in the process of winding up for delivering the property of the assets to the liquidator. So it will be possible as the tribunal directs to the official liquidator to take any property, document or money in his possession or control which are normally owned by the company. So in such a case, the company is empowered to ask any contributory and the list of contributaries or the trustees or the agent or officer of the company to pay and return the benefit that they have received in the company. Therefore, the third power of tribunal is delivery of the property to the liquidator. Then fourth one is power to order payment of debts and to allow set off. So the tribunal has the power to make at any time after the winding up order an order on one contributory to make payment and to collect the money that is due from him or from his estate of the person who is due to the company, and it can be either collected in the form of money from him or money payable from his estate, and this will be taken according to the provisions of the act. And normally set off is allowed only sometimes. The tribunal may allow any contributory of an unlimited company by way of set off any money due to him, and in respect of any dividend or profit. And same set off facility to the director or manager whose liability is unlimited. Therefore, the tribunal has the power to order payment of debts and to allow set off in some circumstances. Then one more power of the tribunal is power to make calls. So after the commencement of winding up process, the tribunal will ascertain whether the assets position is sufficient to discharge the liabilities of the company or not. However, when the tribunal finds it difficult to discharge the liabilities of the company, then in such a case, it will make calls to any contributors for time being on the list of contributors and may ask for payment to the extent of their liability. And after collecting such money, the tribunal will try to satisfy the debt and liabilities of the company and to pay the costs and charges that are spent for the purpose of winding up. And it may make an order for payment of any calls that have been made for the purpose of collecting money from the contributors. However, the tribunal has to consider the probability of the money being to be collected. Sometimes it may happen that the amount may not be collected at all. Sometimes it may happen that the amount may be collected partially, and sometimes it may happen that the amount may be collected in full. So, in such a case, the tribunal may consider the probability of the contributor is paying the amount either in full or partial, or some may fail to pay also in response to the call made by the tribunal. Therefore, an order of the tribunal under this provision is known as balance order, by which a liquidator is enabled to get payment from a contributory instead of proceedings by a legal suit. So instead of proceeding legally, they may call for collecting the money, and this is called a balance order. Therefore, the tribunal may consider for the purpose of making calls on the balance amount that is due on the shares to be paid by the contributors. And one more right or one more power that the tribunal has is adjustment of rights of contributors. So in this case, according to section 297, the tribunal is empowered to adjust the rights of contributors among themselves and distribute any surplus among the person who is entitled. So this is an adjustment among the contributors in which their rights are settled and the amount collected from the contributors is distributed, and the surplus, if any, that is remaining still after the distribution will be adjusted according to the rights of the contributors. So this is one important power that the tribunal has to adjust the rights of contributors. Then one more power of the tribunal is power to costs, where the assets of the company are insufficient to satisfy the liabilities. To satisfy the liabilities, so the tribunal has the power to make an order for payment of the costs, charges and expenses incurred for winding up out of the assets. So I repeat, the costs and expenses are paid out of the assets, and the priority for payment of such expenses for winding up will be decided by the tribunal, whether these expenses are to be paid first, or there can be some preferential payments, or there can be some payments like the dues that are to be paid to the central government, state government, or local authorities, and so on. Therefore, the tribunal will decide regarding the payment of costs, charges, and expenses that are incurred on the process of winding up of a company. So, this is an important power of the tribunal. Then, one more power that we have is power to summon persons suspected of having the property of the company. So, according to section 299, the tribunal may pass an order and summon any person before it to appear before it for examination. So, the persons who are suspected or who are known to have in their custody any property of the company. Suppose a person is holding a motor car of a company, then if it is detected that the motor car is in his possession, then such a person can be summoned to appear before the official liquidator and provide his explanation as to the summon given and give details regarding the assets that he is holding or that assets that are in his custody which belong to the company. So in such a case, it may summon any person who are known or they are supposed to be indebted to the company. So those who are indebted to the company, they may also be summoned, and the person who are supposed to pay some amount to the company will be summoned and the amount will be collected. And one more person who is capable of giving some information concerning the promotion, formation, trade, dealings, property of affairs of the company shall be summoned in order to extract information on the matters like property of the company or dealings of the company or trade matters related to the company, and extract some information which may be beneficial to the winding up process of the company. Therefore, the tribunal may examine any such person on oath, by word of mouth, or on written interrogation. Hence, the tribunal has the power to ask or compel any person to produce before it any document like papers or books which may be in his custody or power relating to the company. If he claims any lien on them, then such assets shall be produced, and the tribunal shall have the power to decide on such matter. And in case the person who is summoned admits his indebtedness, and the tribunal may order him to pay to the provisional liquidator such amount. and in this case the tribunal will fix the time and allow him to pay the amount in a pre-decided manner, that is either in full or in installments the amount can be paid. Further, if the person who is summoned for the purpose of collecting the documents or property and admits the same, the tribunal may pass an order and the person will be required to return the documents or property that is in his possession, and he will be free only when he submits the relevant document or the property to the company. And reasonable time will be given for the purpose of doing all these things. Therefore, the tribunal may ask or compel any person who admits that he has some due to the company or he has some assets or document in his possession which actually belongs to the company. Hence, this is an important power of the tribunal which will help in the process of winding up, like collecting the money, like extracting the documents of the company, important documents of the company, and collecting relevant information from persons regarding the business deals and trade of the company, which will reveal the business matters and affairs of the company and will help to trace out those persons who are due to the company and who admit their indebtedness before the tribunal and will make the necessary payment which will help in repaying the or discharging the liabilities of the company. Then one more power of the tribunal is power to order public examination of promoters and directors. So according to section 300 of the Companies Act, the tribunal is empowered to investigate and conduct the examination of persons who have taken part in the management of the company. So normally the company is managed by the board of directors and top level officers, and the persons who have promoted the company, that is the promoters, and a public examination can be ordered where an official liquidator has submitted a report alleging fraud by any person who is involved in the management of the company. And in such a case, the tribunal may direct the person who is alleged to appear before it for examination. And after receiving the notice, such person like a promoter, director, or a manager or an officer of the company will be questioned and he will be examined properly regarding the management affairs of the company. And the official liquidator shall take part in the examination, and sometimes he is assisted by a lawyer for the purpose of examination. So the lawyer will assist the official liquidator for the purpose of examination of the persons involved in the management of the company. In certain situations, any creditor or a contributor may also take part in the examination either in person or by legal practitioners who are entitled before the tribunal. So during the examination, the tribunal may put any questions as it may think fit and the persons shall be examined on oath regarding their role in the management of the company. And after the examination is over, the notes of the examinations must be taken down in writing like minutes and must be read over and explained to the person who has replied in response to the questions posed by the tribunal, and those notes are to be signed by the person examined. And these notes may be used as evidence against him if he is found guilty at a later stage, and this shall be kept open for inspection by a contributory or a creditor at all times. So this is an important power for examination of the promoters, directors, managers or officers of the company in case of winding up of a company. Then one more power that is important here is power to arrest absconding contributory. So at any time, either before or after the making up of winding up order, the tribunal may, on a proof believing that a contributory is about to quit India or trying to abscond or is trying to conceal some facts about the property that he has kept in his possession or trying to remove any important information regarding the management of the company or keeping some facts of the company as secret. So in such a case, the contributory may be arrested and safely kept until such time the tribunal may order for his release, and his books and papers and movable property is to be seized and safely kept until such time as the tribunal may order. Therefore, this is most powerful action that a tribunal may take by passing an order to arrest a contributory who is trying to quit India or trying to abscond in order to avoid the process of examination in connection to the winding up of a company. Therefore, these are the general powers of the tribunal which a tribunal may exercise during the process of winding up. So let us move on and see regarding the committee of inspection. So the tribunal may appoint a committee of inspection by passing an order. A tribunal may appoint a committee of inspection to act with the liquidator, and after receiving such an order, the liquidator may convene a meeting within 2 months of the creditors to ascertain as to who will be the members of the committee, and the members will assist the committee, and the committee of inspection will assist the liquidator for the purpose of completing the process of winding up of the company. Therefore, the committee is constituted by various members. So let us see who are the various members in the committee and how the committee is constituted. So a committee of inspection shall be appointed consisting of not more than 12 members, not more than 12 members, and representing the creditors and contributories. The committee of inspection will function and it has a right to inspect the accounts. Committee can inspect the accounts of the liquidator at all reasonable times, and the committee shall meet all such times as it feels to meet, and the liquidator or any member of the committee may call for a meeting, and the quorum for a meeting shall be 1/3 of the total number of members or 2 members, whichever is higher. If the 1/3 of the members is 4, then there shall be at least 4 members to convene a meeting. Or if the higher number is 2 members, then at least 2 members shall be present in order to convene a meeting. So sometimes there may be a resignation by members. So a member may resign by giving notice in writing, signed by him and delivered to the liquidator. So in such a case, the vacancy is created in his office, and sometimes there may be some automatic vacancy created in the office. So the office of a member is automatically vacated sometimes where he becomes insolvent or compound with his creditors, and sometimes if he is absent from 5 consecutive meetings without the leave of the creditors or contributories to which class he belongs. If he is a member from the creditors group, he should take leave from the creditors, or if he is a member from the contributories group, he should take leave from the contributors. Otherwise, his office is deemed to be vacated automatically due to his absence. And sometimes there may be removal of a member also. A member may be removed by an ordinary resolution at a meeting of the creditors, and 7 days notice must be given stating the object of the meeting, and the vacancy can be filled, and the liquidator shall summon the appropriate meeting to fill the vacancy that has been due to the vacation of office either by the member of the creditors or member of the contributors. So in such a case, there may be some appointment of a member to fill the vacancy, and the tribunal shall make the orders accordingly for filling the vacancy. And there may be some fiduciary position of the members also. So the members appointed in the committee occupy a fiduciary position, and they are supposed to be like trustees of the company, and they have to act accordingly. This is composition of the committee of inspection. Then we have contributory. Contributory means every person who is liable to pay the full amount on the shares held by him, and this liability continues even after the company passes into liquidation. So now we can see who are the liable persons as contributories. So the present members, the past members, the directors and managers are eligible to be liable as contributories in case of winding up of a company. Then we have dissolution of the company. So the dissolution of a company is similar to the death of a living person. So the company ceases to exist on dissolution and no longer will exist as a corporate entity. Therefore, dissolution is an important step in the life of a company, and there shall be some grounds on which dissolution of a company is recommended. So, it may be recommended on application filed by the company liquidator for dissolution after the affairs of the company have been completely wound up. So, if the liquidator feels that the affairs of the company have been completely completed and there is no work pending and the company can be dissolved now, then when the tribunal is of the opinion that it is just and reasonable in the circumstances of the case that an order of dissolution of the company shall be made. So in such a case also the dissolution of the company can be made. Therefore, we have seen how the tribunal exercises the power for the purpose of winding up of the company and collecting the amount from the contributaries and dissolution of the company. Thank you.